Hi, it's Anika Porter, the owner of Mylifespirations, and we are here recording for the Mylifespirations podcast and show. And I have a special guest in the studio today. We are honored by his presence. He walks in much power. He is a provider, a protector, and a true leader here in the St. Louis area. We have no other than the president of the NAACP, Mr. John Bowman.
Hello, Anika. Your energy levels takes mine up to the stratosphere. Thank you. It's
John, we are excited that you are here with us, and we want to go ahead and thank you in advance for your service to our community because you are a phenomenal leader. And so let's just dive right in. So you are the president of NAACP St. Louis County branch. Can you tell us exactly, maybe for those that don't know, exactly what the NAACP does?
Well, our mission is to ensure the political, educational, social, and economic equality of all citizens. So we fight on many fronts: discrimination of all races, religions, no matter who you love. We make sure that there's justice in areas where people don't have voices, and we take on many different situations to make sure, as I said, discrimination is not a factor in anyone's life.
Wow. Woo, John, you've said a mouthful. Love your mission. I love what you stand for. And I really believe that civil rights is everyone's responsibility, John. I think some of us sit back and feel like we have this option, that maybe we're not a civil rights leader. We take our rights to vote, our rights to walk, our rights to shop for granted. Can you speak to that a little bit, like how being a member of the NAACP is everyone's responsibility?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we were not handed these constitutional rights as a gift. They were fought for. This is 2021, and presently we're in an age where many of the fights that were taken on by civil rights leaders in 1961. Take, for example, May 4th, 1961, there were 6 whites, 7 African Americans boarded a bus to go to Jim Crow South to fight on behalf of eliminating segregation, meaning having the ability to eat at lunch counters, use the same restrooms. So here we are today, and we find ourselves up on the same type of oppressive behavior through legislative actions where they're trying to suppress the vote, keep us from having our rights to vote. 48 states, there's been legislative laws filed that are voter suppression laws. 2 states have actually passed those laws, Georgia being one, and they're just a pattern of an effort to take away hard-fought-for protections that we have. So the NAACP acts as a watchdog to make sure that we are talking with Congress, both locally and nationally, to see to it that we don't lose any of these very important rights. They're constitutional rights. If we don't have the ability to express our voice through voting, and we're being circumvented by a process, then all of the things that make this country what it is, and which we are an important ingredient of what this country is, those things are taken away from us.
Wow. So the long story short is we need everyone to get involved. We need everyone to support. We need everyone to join the NAACP. And what we mean by everyone, we mean we need grandma's membership.
Yes.
We need her grandson's membership, and we need her daughter's membership. We need their neighbors, and more importantly, their network.
Yes, it's an all-in fight. I mean, there's no room for anyone to stand on the sidelines at this critical juncture in time. I mean, if you are not engaged, or if you're not using that power that was fought for, someone's using it against you. And to wait on everyone else to take on these battles is not how it's done. It's a wraparound effort. We all have to be engaged. We all have to participate. The NAACP is a name and a branding to take on these fights, but the real freedom fighters are the people who are members of the NAACP.
Wow. Okay, so John, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe one of the myths that people have is that we are pro-African Americans and anti every other race. some of my closest friends are Caucasian, are Jewish, and how important is it that we drive home the point that we are anti-hate, we are anti-injustice, we are against any harm done to people, period, just in the community, not just for African Americans, but individuals. Can you speak to that, John?
The history of the NAACP speaks to that loudly. It was founded in 1909, and it was founded by blacks, actually a Jewish leader, and we still are a multicultural, multi-generational organization. As you know, in my branch, there are several different groups of people in my branch, black, white, Hispanic. We're all on the same battlefield. So the NAACP is here to fight for the rights of all citizens, not just black citizens, all citizens.
Love it. You heard it here first. NAACP stands for the rights of all citizens. Now, John, can you briefly talk about the 4 PowerPoints of focus for the NAACP for 2021 and beyond? I know one of them may be education, criminal justice. Can you talk about the 4 PowerPoints?
Yeah, we find ourselves at a juncture, once again, a time where criminal justice reform is a conversation that's way past due. The criminal justice system has not been fair to people of color and people at lower incomes. It has been an unbalanced justice system, not only with incarceration, but as far as how they distribute sentencing. So we are definitely on the front lines of this conversation where we need to invest more into mental health issues, more into preventive measures, drug addiction, social, economic issues. Instead of using this old program of broken window policing, we need to move toward a more progressive way. We have leaders there now who are engaged in that. Fortunately, our Congress people, some of our local elected officials are all on board with making sure we change the way the justice system has operated in the past, because it has not been beneficial to people of color.
Wow. Whew. Well, we know that all too well. I know education is a focus for this year, criminal justice, the health care is an issue, and economic development. These are all issues that definitely are weak areas for the African American community and maybe some other communities, but it hits home. I mean, all of us have experienced, and when I say all of us, I mean as African Americans have experienced discrimination in education, criminal justice, healthcare, and economic development. Can you briefly speak about some of those, John? I know you have already discussed criminal justice.
Well, on the education front, we have to have more dollars invested in schools so that there's a good opportunity for quality education for our students and our children. And we need to pay teachers more money. I mean,
agree.
Teachers
deal with other people's kids.
Yeah, teachers are definitely the backbone of our society. Without a good teacher, I still remember who my first grade teacher was, and I come from a public school system. So without those things, John Bowman would not be sitting here as president of the NAACP today. As well as we also, on a higher level, need to really put together an effort to eliminate college loans. College loans are a burden that they're just out of control. Mm-hmm. And when you go through a higher learning process and you get out of college, you should not be carrying the weight of a college debt the way we are now. Mm-hmm. So that is another piece that could help tremendously.
Wow. So just to recap, John, the NAACP stands for the rights of all people, number one. Number two, the focus this year and beyond is education, criminal justice, healthcare, economic development. John, you have been the leader of the NAACP St. Louis County for 18 long months during a pandemic. You have served very well. Can you speak just briefly to some of the successful events and things that you have done for the community?
Absolutely. When the pandemic caught us all by surprise in early 20, we jumped into action by holding town halls to initially talk about how the funding was going to be distributed in the Black community to make sure healthcare disparities didn't exist as they always do. You know, in the Black community, we rightfully have a right to have a distrust, not only for the healthcare system and how it's performed in the past, but for institutions, period. So with that being said, COVID-19 was a tragedy for many of us. And so I made sure the NAACP began to partner with federally qualified healthcare centers to make sure COVID testing was available to many of our communities that at the time was not in the front line of being tested. And once we got in the gear on that, we started holding elected officials accountable as to how they were providing funding to make sure the healthcare systems that need to be in place in our community were there. Moving forward, we also recognized that there was a real need because of food insecurity with people being out of work. So back in March of last year, we leveraged some funds and made sure that we were able to feed our community ourselves, not just African Americans. There were people of all colors coming through our lives. And to this day, we have fed over 1 million people.
Wow.
We invested well over $3 million in food insecurity. Last week, we was at Wellston for the Black Wall Street event, and we had given away probably about 600 or 700 boxes of fresh, nutritional vegetables and fruit. We have partnered with locally Black-owned businesses and made sure that they were able to receive funding as a part of the Humanitarian Cares Act in St. Louis County. So we were very aggressive in making sure that our community was not being overlooked at a very, very critical time with this pandemic, and providing opportunities as far as food, testing, and now vaccinations. Once again, we are still trying to address the need for our community to make sure they get vaccinations during this COVID pandemic, because our community was hit very hard by the pandemic. And I get why people have their distrust and their concerns, but I encourage you to make sure you take time to get accurate scientific information. The Moderna vaccine was actually partially discovered by a Black woman. If you don't trust the past behaviors of the healthcare system, at least give some consideration to Black medical professions when they are telling you, yes, this is not going to have any side effect, harm you in the long term, but it can help you protect yourself and your family and others around you.
Yes. So part of empowering the community is empowering them with education, with knowledge. People perish for the lack of knowledge. So we want to thank John for being here today. We are so appreciative of him, his time, his leadership to our community. But before we let you go, we need you to join the NAACP St. Louis County. Your membership is vital to protecting our community, to advancing our community, to giving access to resources and opportunities. So, John, please tell everyone at home how they can join the NAACP St. Louis County.
We have made a very painless and simple process. If you would go to NAACP-STLouisCounty.org, you will be on our website. And if you just punch on the 3 bars, you will see membership.
Yes.
And for the low price of an annual $30 fee, you will become a member of the St. Louis County NAACP. You can join us in our work by becoming a member of one of our many committees, and we can make a difference together, because it's going to take all of us.
Oh, my God, I love it. So no complaining, no whining, no crying, no negative social media posts. If you are not a member, if you are not involved, you are not engaged. You heard it here first today. We need you to join the St. Louis County NAACP and support John Bowman. The membership is only $30 for the entire year. Some of y'all's meals cost $30 per person. So we need you to stand up. Once again, we are not against any race. We are against hate, number one. Number two, we are focusing, the NAACP is focusing on education, criminal justice, healthcare, economic development. Under the leadership of Mr. John Bowman, he has given access to COVID testing. He has had massive food distribution, over $1 million worth of foods and products delivered to our community. He's had voter registration, diaper distribution, public education. He's fighting for your kids and our kids. And don't wait until someone gets in trouble. Get involved now. So get involved, help John Bowman, his staff, St. Louis County, NAACP. Mr. Bowman, we want to thank you for your time and your presence here today. We really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, Anika. Thank you for having me.